to...
Or a little closer?
Yeah. I'll just start over.
Okay, cool.
And try to make it sound genuine. I'm here with Filip Leu, and just wanted to thank you for joining us for the podcast. And, I think it'd be a good idea to maybe share a couple words about your friend Bill Salmon and how you met, and some interesting stories to keep his memory alive.
It'd be my pleasure. He's sorely missed this year. Bill was truly loved by everybody. I'm now coming on at 51. I met Bill when I was 17 the first time, and I traveled. My dad had sent me around the world to further my tattoo education, and I actually went to work under Ed Hardy at Realistic Studios in San Francisco. This was 1985. And when I showed up, Bill was working there, and a guy called Dan Tomei, hand tattooer, that did like Pacific Island stuff, like way before others, like way before the... And Bill really, I lived with him actually, not right away, but I moved in with him pretty quick. And he became my big brother, like, practically right away. He really introduced me to America, well, San Francisco, I should say. I traveled a lot up to the age 17. I've been to Asia and Europe, but I'd never been to America, and it was a culture shock. And Bill was really, really cool. He really showed me around and educated me a lot. We became like family pretty quick.
And you said you lived with him?
Yeah, I stayed with him the first time. We was way out on the outskirts near the zoo. No, Bill really taught me about life, all kinds of aspects of it. He tried to teach me how to iron my pants and keep a seam all day long, which was I still can't do. I don't come from that background or culture. After the initial meeting, it was just, I went back many times to work with Bill and Junie. When I first met Bill, he wasn't with Junie, and they got together in like 87, just a little bit after I met him. But I've gone back many times, lived with them with my brother and Titine, my wife, spent months with Bill on end. And he was, it's hard to put him into words. The original San Francisco hippie, maybe?
Yeah.
This guy was fucking psychedelic. He was incredibly aware, incredibly sensitive. He tried to teach me about... He would tell me things like this about not in prying. It's a weird thing. Like, not if somebody comes in with a black eye and doesn't say a word about it when he's talking to you, maybe you shouldn't ask him, because if he wanted to talk about it, he would have.
Right. So
to give him the space to talk about it when he's ready, kind of idea, and apply that to everything in life. Plus, visionary is another word that you hear a lot, and I think with Bill it was really real. He taught me, even though I tattooed faster than him. I'd started younger, and I had more technical prowesses than Bill. When I met him, we shared information. He could imagine tattoos that I couldn't. And he really worked hard at helping me understand, like, the way he saw things, to overscale stuff, to customize stuff for me. His tattoos, I don't know if you've ever seen his front.
Yeah. Of course.
And his legs, it's some of the most out there work that I saw from Ed Hardy, and Bill was very instrumental in the making of that tattoo, even though he wasn't a tattooer at the time.
Right.
The thing about Bill was that he came to the profession not to be an artist, a tattooer. He came to the profession as a collector and a lover of tattoos.
Interesting.
And fell into tattooing.
Was he an artist beforehand as well? A musician.
Plays sax and guitar and sings. He'd gone to San Francisco to be a musician and ended up selling hi-fi equipment in the beginning, and was like really good at it, like selling on commission, And he was very successful and fell on tattooing. He didn't actually start with Hardy. He got a whole arm from a guy called Pat Martinique, who used to work on Geary Street in San Francisco. More old school style tattoo, and he actually started on one little thing on the shoulder and then filled the whole sleeve in. Lucky for him, he didn't spread it out. He just did the sleeve, and once the first sleeve was done, then he actually got to know a bit about the profession and chose to go to see Ed Hardy and get the other arm done. He's also a flute player. He got a very beautiful arm, late 70s I believe it was, of a woman playing flute, a bunch of chrysanthemums.
And this was all from Hardy.
Yeah, and the work was like way ahead of the curve. Bill had a really beautiful collection of tattoos.
Yeah, it's incredible. Whenever I've seen them, I just think of how ahead of its time it was, all the selection of tattoos that he had.
He had a huge fish head on his back, the whole back, with a witch in the eye. If you looked in the eye, you saw a witch. And the fish went from his neck to his foot.
Wow.
And the tail was on the foot, and then going up the side of the leg with a bunch of scales, and you had the anal fin, and then you had a bit of the dorsal fin on the thigh, and you had flipper fins on the back, and then on his hip, he had a Cadillac fin coming out of the fish. In 1959, and he wrote Cook de Bill on it instead of Cook de Ville. Right? He was like really into the details and having fun with it. He really opened my eyes and really taught me about making people comfortable throughout the experience. Not only the tattoo part, the whole thing.
Right.
He had like consultations without obligations. And then people come back for fittings.
Wow.
To see if they like the drawing and they look good up against the body and stuff. And then another appointment to come and start the work. Really like buying a suit or something.
Yeah.
He wasn't into this turnover and he came in it from a very, very different, because he was a collector first.
Sure. So he had that kind of experience.
Yeah, he knew
what it was going to be like.
Right? And a little bit can go a long way in playing the right music, setting the right lighting, being kind and attentive.
Right.
You don't have to roll over backwards, but just the way you'd like to be treated.
Sure, of course.
It's such a horrible experience getting tattooed that there's no need to make it worse, right? Which was because of and yeah, he was just, it wasn't just tattooing. I mean, living with Bill, his apartment was a sculpture. From the light trimmings that were hand painted to the clouds painted on the ceiling to all the odd glitter and diamonds, and he would glue shit everywhere. He was like expressing himself, not just tattooing or music, but all the time. In his dress sense, very sharp dresser, Bill. I remember years ago going to a Renaissance fair. I think it was end of the 90s, me and Titine and Junie and Bill. And he was wearing see-through peace tights with like peace symbols all over him, and this weird kind of jester's shirt in silk, and he had these diamond-shaped glasses. One lens was green and one was purple, and his crazy hair and all these tattoos. And yeah, he was like, it was really fun to hang out with him. I mean, and now, since his passing, I realize a lot how much everybody liked him. I don't think Bill had an enemy. I mean,
I unfortunately never got to meet him. The last time I actually was here, all I was able to do is kind of shake his hand and say hello. But just knowing what I know about his past and the people around him, it's just, you can tell there's something special, and seeing the work, and he definitely influenced.
He touched people, but not just in tattooing, in life, right? I was when that first visit, I remember we drove down, I think it was Santa Cruz or a bit further. He had an old Plymouth, a car bitch falling off it all the time. It's a great car, though. I loved it. And on the way back, the thing crapped out and wouldn't work anymore, and we got towed to a garage on the side of a road, not even in a town. It was dark and the alternator was shot, and we had no money. And he managed to talk the brothers. There were two brothers. One, I tattooed one of them in the office. I did him a Grateful Dead skull on the shoulder, right? We'd said, "My mama tried." And I could see Bill and the other brother through the window of the office, and they fixed the car, and we made it home,
Wow.
And it was great. It was really, really good. We did a really big tattoo, me and Luke Atkinson and Junie and Bill, 2003 or 4. It's a big hanya on a man called Avery from San Francisco. Yeah,
I remember, I think Luke had posted something with that.
Well, Bill talked to me about that, and I tried to visualize it, and I was a bit tentative, and he ended up actually painting it on the man himself, taking 36 shots with a roll of film, and then when me and Luke showed up, he showed us the pictures to really get across what he wanted.
Right.
When we did the drawing, he had a corridor in his place, one corridor. Luke and me were at one end drawing on the man, And Bill would sit right up at the other end of the corridor and direct. A little bit up, a little bit down. So what I learned with Bill working with him was that he may have sounded like crazy when he had these ideas, but he actually really knew what he saw and what he wanted.
Right.
It wasn't just,
just spouting
making
out
stuff.
words.
No.
Yeah.
He actually had an idea behind it, but it sounded impossible at first.
Right.
And I learned to really trust him on that. And he did help me. A lot of the oversized, out-of-the-box work I do, I did over the years some stuff that not everybody gets. Oversized, just a huge dragon claw that goes from a guy's neck to the ground.
Right.
It's not everybody would want to wear that. They're all because of Bill. He kind of opened that door and showed me that it's okay.
It's possible. And
this idea of it's weird. Tattooing we do to be individuals. Yeah, we all conform. We are real conformists, and not many people go out of the box.
Right.
It's getting a little better these days. There's more artistically trained people that come to tattooing that don't have the preconceived ideas of the way tattooing is traditionally, right?
Right.
That try and change the stuff. There is an evolution going on.
Of
Bill
course.
was a precursor way ahead of the curve for
so
me.
So do you think during his time, people were looking at him and saying like, "Oh, what's up with this crazy stuff?
Yes,
don't do that.
Don't do that."
Yeah.
Right? It's weird. We are a human race. We're like lemmings. You know what I mean? We do follow each other around, right? And it really strikes me how we want to be individual in tattooing, yet we all tend to look the same, myself included. There was an idea I remember talking a lot about Bill about how important the design really is.
Right.
Because yes, it's important, especially to us making it, but a lot of the times getting tattooed is the true point of the whole endeavor. And a lot of designs would have sufficed it. You have a tattoo of a shige on your neck?
Yeah.
It could have been many different designs, and you'd still have the neck tattoo and carry the same strength and weight of being with the neck tattoo, right? To really got that idea across about because I never lost myself in the mystical, magical, and shamanistic side of tattooing.
Sure.
Even though it's real and it exists, I was always on the visual side, which interested me more, and that was my motivation.
Of course.
And Bill was more about the act of putting ink under the skin in many ways, and tried to explain to me the strength and power of that. And it is. We ignored this.
Do you find yourself now maybe trying to take some of that you kind of dismissed in the beginning and try to incorporate it into your work now?
All the time. We were talking about since the first day I met Bill, that first year that we worked together. He's been living in my mind ever since. The fact that he's no longer with us, he's always going to be with me in the sense of what he tried to show me and share. On the other side, he was an amazing entertainer.
Yeah.
Bill, man, could have been on television. He had a party in his house. Well, it's in the 2000s. We had full flat, lots of music being made in San Francisco. Guitars being played. Horitoshi came over from Japan. He's playing. Yeah, we were jamming with the acoustic. Bill's singing all these songs. He knew so many words. He could blend them all together because all songs mix, right?
Sure.
He's really good playing his guitar, jumping around. Decides to play his saxophone. So we all keep going. He's like, keep going. He goes off, gets his sax, and he does this whole kind of little... You remember the Cheech and Chong movie when he's cleaning the car in the beginning to the song Lowrider? You know how he dances around it? So Bill was doing a little dance, opening up the sax, cleaning the sax, getting it all ready, fucking adjusting the strap, doing the little thing. When it came time to play, he went, meh, one note, stopped, and then it was a whole dance of how he took it apart to clean it and put it back in the box, right? So the whole thing took forever, but it was so entertaining. He didn't even have to play the sax. He made one note on it. And I learned about how you clean the reed just by watching him. To put a saxophone away, you can't just throw it in the box. You got to clean it up and put it away. But he spent a lot of energy. He gave a lot of energy entertaining, and he had wonderful stories.
Right.
He could go and go and go and go. Like, he loved Paris the last time he was here. Bill loved it here.
Yeah.
Paris. He spent a lot of time talking to anyone. He didn't select. Anybody that wanted he would converse, you know.
Yeah. That's a true kindness.
Yeah, he really, really, really loved it. And Junie too. I mean, amazing people. I mean, they, like I say, immediately became family for me. You know, it's just like that. Yeah, life is for living. This is the way I feel. Right? Enjoy your life because it does end.
Yeah. No,
you know. I wish I would have gone to the Queen Mary in 1984. There was this convention in Long Beach, and I was scheduled to go, but I was 16, and I crapped out at the last minute. I didn't have the courage.
Wow.
But Bill had dressed up as the Great Omi on that show.
Okay.
It's this guy that had his whole
yeah.
And he'd worn a skull cap, and he was doing the photo booth where you could get photographed with the Great. He really looked good dressed up like him. You know, he was willing to put that kind of energy into it, which was good.
That's wonderful. You can definitely feel his absence here at the convention this year.
I'm actually wearing his coat at the moment. When I showed up on Friday, Brian Kaneko, a friend of theirs, he brought me 2 of Bill's coats, the ones that he'd worn last year. Oh, he's still here. I can smell him. He's a very sharp dresser. He was dismayed when I showed up first in San Francisco. I was wearing AC/DC t-shirts, jeans with a military vest on top, and then American Army paratrooper boots with the jeans tucked into the boots, right? I looked like such a country bumpkin, and he was like, no, let me help you with your outfit.
He's like, no, this is not going to work.
No. He wanted some style.
So he really pretty much introduced you to that San Francisco
Absolutely,
style.
He really showed me around. And to America, in the whole sense of, but to the whole tattoo, he took me all over the Bay Area, you know, and he knew everybody, so what a way to be introduced to a scene, you know.
Sure, yeah.
And for the tattooing, I mean, in Europe it was okay when we started, but it wasn't, San Francisco was really like cool at the time. It was really nice, you know, and people would visit each other's shops. Not to say that it didn't happen here, but that kind of, maybe San Francisco, you know what I mean? That kind of openness was really cool. I like that. And he did introduce me to a lot of people. Working at Realistic for a while, it's good too, because I have a lot of exposure to some of the best stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty amazing lineup to me. You know, Ed Hardy, Bill Salmon, you.
No, Hardy was working across town. He had a condominium at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was me and Bill in the show.
Just you two?
Just the 2 of us. But Dan Tomei as well, but he worked upstairs sometimes in a private room. So yeah, a lot of my chops and drawing, changing. But more what Bill really taught me about is to just have fun with the imagination too. We're only limited by our imagination.
Right.
And all right, you could say, compared to music, there are styles. Which, if you want to play this kind of music, it's just how you do it, and then people like their own music and don't listen to everything. But I'd like to see tattooing go into something. I keep watching Star Trek, Next Gen, all this stuff. I love the Klingon skin and the weird kind of
the textures.
Yeah, not enough of that happening for my taste. I'd like to see more of that. Some things are quite futuristic.
Do you think Bill would have thought the approach to tattooing, like maybe making each individual tattoo something brand new of its own, or trying to find like a style that maybe many different tattoos for other people were wearing can kind of like go in this flow of a style, or was his approach more? There is, you know, if you start to look around now, ain't nothing new. It's almost impossible, right? Yeah.
No, he was more. I don't even think if he knew this very open-ended approach to tattooing. Like I was very set and definite when I'd gotten there. I'd only been tattooing a while, but I've been trained. You sit a person down, you make the little drawing on the spot, you're sure you agree on everything, and you go. And this idea of consultations and then fittings. And then the work was kind of open-ended at Bill's. There was no time limit. There was no schedule.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it was really trippy for me to see people willing to go for this ride. It was like a ride, you know, an experience. This is not just getting a tattoo. This is spending time at the Diamond Club. And it really turned into that, you know, and that's, I think, why he was so loved, because he really got into people. Yeah. Gave them the time.
Yeah, that's important.
And it was interesting. You'd say sometimes people don't really know what they want. They'll come in and say eagle because that's the best thing they can think of in the moment. But if you say, is it an eagle? How about a falcon, you know? Have you ever thought about getting a crow? You know, and then they'd start like going, oh, wow.
Opening up.
Yeah, opening up and actually starting to understand that they could really get anything. And that's a really weird one. So the whole process was very intimate and very. It is business, but it wasn't just business.
Yeah.
It was more. He loved it because he was a collector.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to say that artists that come to this just to be an artist can't be collectors as well, but some people start. He didn't plan on being a tattooer, is the thing, right?
It fell into him.
Yeah, he really fell in love with it and then got into it. And that was. Like, my father started tattooing as a way to support 4 kids. He was a jeweler, and then he was a batik maker, and then he would import silk embroidery, sari trimmings from India for fashion, and he always found ways of making money. But he came to tattooing as a way, a lifestyle of living without an intermediary. He didn't like bosses. What attracted my dad to this profession was the direct connection. One-on-one business. Yeah, he liked that. And he liked it, but my dad had a back piece, both his arms and his lower legs. But Bill had his ass crack tattooed, you know? And behind the nutsack and behind the knee and the foot. He really
all
experienced every part, which takes dedication.
Definitely.
And a love of it. Not to say my dad didn't love it, but he wasn't interested in getting it all tattooed. He didn't want to show his ass crack to people. That was his private fucking sphere, you know, that he saw no point. Which is good, fine, I understand, you know. Right. I decided to follow Bill, and it's been a hard slog. It's a lot of space to fill. You know, I'm nearly there. I got some armpits to go.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Picking and choosing small little spaces
I was very proud that last time Bill came to visit me, we went in a photo shoot, and to be suited with Bill was really something that been years trying to achieve it, you know. Yeah, he inspired me. Like I said, I taught Bill a bit about single needle when we first got together, because I'd had training in a different field. My dad was very technically minded and taught me quickly how to control the single and small lines and stuff, and Bill was more American. They'd shunned the single needle a bit at the time, except for what was happening down in LA.
Of course, yeah.
They were more into fat outline is what I actually learned, so I was able to trade that with Bill, and he traded back. We worked well in the sense of he would guide me and I'd draw it. We had a business card for a while called Phil and Bill, because we can fill the bill. He was a word man. He was good at that. Yeah, he's very, very interesting man. The characters. And it's beyond. He would do the same as people in the street. It's beyond like business. It's a life choice. Yeah. How you want to go through this world and interact with other beings. And
it sounds like a much more enjoyable way to experience the world, to interact with it more like that.
One of his mottos was follow your dreams. You know, live your dreams, you know. But follow your dreams, right? Yeah. And he did.
It's wonderful.
He come from a large family. I think there were 10 or 11 brothers and sisters, a bit like the Brady Bunch. Yeah. 2 divorcees or widowers got together, 4 kids. He was 11, 5 and 6 got together, became 11 children, and they had he was learning dental technician, building false teeth and stuff before he went. He lived on the East Coast. Yeah, before he went to California. So he taught me about teeth and how to draw teeth. He could draw every tooth.
Really?
Yeah, because you got to learn when you're building false teeth
The
and all
anatomy
these
of 'em.
stuff. Yeah, so he's very good at that. And similarities in tattooing a little bit. They used the same foot switch at the time. And the Dremel to drill and stuff. There was a couple of times where I was out with him at night, and a couple of situations where his mental strength and big mouth chased people away. He knew how to bite back.
Yeah.
Which surprised me because he seemed so mellow and everything. The first time he did it, I was like, wow, he could do that too. Because my dad was good at that. Like, oh, setting people like back when they got too heavy. And so when Bill did it, he surprised me because I think he's got that as well. Eh? But he kept that
Everything
cool.
controlled.
He didn't use it much, only when he had to. But he had the capacity, right? Yeah. There's a million stories, but thank you for letting me talk a little bit about him.
No, thank you. I think this is great, and I think he would like it, and I think Junie would like it as well.
I actually wear this tattoo, which is the Diamond Club.
Oh, yeah.
There's a few of us that got the logo.
Incredible. Just want to thank you, and then...
Thank you very much. All right, that's a go.
Thank you so much.